Hi, I'm Ray Hagar with the Reno Gazette Journal, and welcome to an all-new edition of Nevada Newsmakers. Today we go to the hot spot of the world. We speak with Steve Mashni, who is at the Gaza Strip. And on today's pundit panel, we have Jason Geddes, Brandon Trainor, and Bob Crowell. We'll be back with that in just 1 minute.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and social security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, this is going to be a fascinating show. Our guest today is calling in from Khan Younis, which is in the Gaza Strip, the southern Gaza Strip, and we're recording this on August 11th. And at this time, the preparations are for this Sunday for Israel to pull out of the Gaza Strip, and we're talking to Steve Mashni. Steve is an old and dear friend of mine. He used to work at the Daily Sparks Tribune, which is where we first came across each other, and he's been since 1999. He went to Israel, worked as a missionary in the West Bank in Jerusalem, worked with church and taught at a Christian school in Jerusalem, and for almost 4 years has lived in the Gaza Strip, first for 3 years in Gaza City, and the last year and a half in Khan Younis in the south. Steve, welcome to the program. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be with you.
Okay, tell us what it's like being in Khan Younis at this time with the pullout of the Israelis as imminent as it is.
I don't know if you can hear it. I'm up on the 7th floor right now. Can you hear this?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Can you hear that?
There's noise in the background. We can't make out what that noise is, but we can hear noise in the background.
It's a bunch of guys on a truck. It's like about 100 guys on a truck, and it's a big celebration, you know. It's, right now, there's just this, really, I don't want to say festive, but there's a real sense of celebration around a lot of the people about the pullout. You know, a lot of people see this as maybe a new chance for them, a new beginning for them. And, at night, sometimes there's fireworks, like the 4th of July. And, they were expecting that there was going to be this disaster and violence on the rise. You know, I've lived here in the Gaza Strip for almost 4 years now, actually more than 4 years. And this has been probably, in terms of bombings and stuff, which I'm very used to here, probably the quietest time I've seen in a long time.
Steve, there are approximately 9,000 Jewish settlers on the Gaza Strip. How many of those do you think will peaceably leave their homes and move out by Sunday?
You know, I believe about half of them have already left. And a lot of them, are, are packing up right now and leaving. You know, like, it's whole communities, like today I read, this whole community in the northern Gaza Strip just got together and decided to just leave peacefully. They realize, that this thing is it's really happening, and it's really come upon them. And yet, this is the Middle East, it's a tinderbox, and at any moment, you touch one thing in this area, and you can blow up the whole region. And right now, there's a concern about the Temple Mount, which is Haram al-Sharif, to the Muslims, which is the Dome of the Rock, Al-Aqsa, where Ariel Sharon walked on the year 2000. And they're expecting 100. I mean, last night there was, I think, around 50,000, Orthodox people who went to pray there against the withdrawal.
Now, this is in Jerusalem, correct?
In Jerusalem, correct.
Right.
And then they're expecting on Friday another 100,000. And, the thing about that is everything here is connected, because if those 100,000 start, if anything happens, on the Temple Mount, that'll divert all the police effort from down here and the army effort down here. They have to go up to Jerusalem to take care of things over there. And there is a real fear, if you read in the media here, of something like that happening. Some small little thing that will just blow up in the northern part of Israel that'll just disable the withdrawal effort from down here.
Let me ask you this. Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian president, asked to ensure calm for the pullout, and but yet he has not gotten the buy-in from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and the Popular Resistance Committee. What are your thoughts on this? What's the word on the street?
You know what? It really depends who you ask, but I tell you what, the people here overall are so tired. They're so tired. And they know that every time there's one of these little rockets that gets blown up in Israel, that's fired from here into Israel, these are the Qassam rockets, they know that it means trouble for them. And there's so many people who are just saying, just let the Jews leave peacefully, And they're also noticing, I think a lot of people are noticing how difficult an effort this is for the Israeli government to get these people out of here. I mean, it is, the one thing this is what we're expecting to happen, and it almost looks a little bit like it's happening probably more in Israel than I'm seeing it in Palestine, and that is that it's like a civil war on both sides.
Steve,
both sides are having to confront their extremists.
And that's a very interesting view to take there. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk more with Steve Mashni, calling from the Gaza Strip in the Palestinian territories. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers.
As we record this program on August 11th, we're speaking with Hussein Steve Mashni, formerly of the Daily Sparks Tribune, where we became friends, and now living in Khan Younis in the Gaza Strip.
Steve, let's take this pull-out from an American perspective. Israel won the Gaza Strip in the 1967 war. Now, in the United States, we got more land in North America through the Native Americans and through also wars with Mexico. We've never given any of that land back. So why should the Israelis give the land back that they earned through warfare?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, if you listen to like what Ariel Sharon is saying, if you pay attention to what's being said here, because believe me, it's being tackled from every possible perspective, from every single angle. And I feel that what Sharon has decided is that it is no longer in Israel's interest to keep the Gaza Strip. For one thing, the Palestinians have a much higher birth rate than the Israelis. The Israelis, like Americans, are almost. The average family is 2 kids. Well, the Palestinians have 7 kids. And, Israel's interest in having a Jewish majority in Israel proper is not really going to continue. It's not going to be possible when you have the Gaza Strip, which now has 1.4 million Palestinians, the average is 7 children per home. But I know that's very low for a lot of families. They got 10, 12, 13, 14 kids, And so to maintain the Jewish majority as well as the security, I mean, you can imagine with 9,000 settlers living between 1.4 million Palestinians, that Israel spends an enormous amount of money on security. And so, Sharon, and I really believe Sharon has feel that it's no longer in Israel's interest to keep the Gaza Strip.
Let me ask you this. In the United States, Al Jazeera gets paid a lot of attention. What kind of attention does it get paid in the Palestinian territories?
Al Jazeera?
Yes.
Al Jazeera is the gospel. I'm kidding. Al Jazeera is, it's CNN, It's, whatever they present is considered the absolute truth. And then they look at CNN, they look at Fox News or BBC as instruments of the Zionists. Primarily they see it as a Zionist tool, I mean, just to put it bluntly, that's really the way it's seen. And in fact, there are many people who even say that Al Jazeera is Zionist, and that and they prefer rather to watch like Manar, which is the Lebanese Hezbollah channel.
Well, okay. Well, and on that basis, how are they playing this story? Are they encouraging calm in the Palestinian territories, or are they advocating other things?
I personally don't watch them that much. I get most of my news through the internet and stuff, so I don't watch it that much. But I really got to say, and I say it, with a sense of pride, a little bit. I'm a Palestinian American, and that I think something is working right now. I think something is happening right now because, things, I'm in Khan Younis, and Khan Younis is one of the hottest spots in all of the Gaza Strip. And I just, I'm not seeing all these problems that everybody was so afraid was going to happen. And I'm just praying to God that we're not going to see them. I pray to God that things are just going to go well, that it's just going to be smooth. And I pray to God that it goes well for the Israelis and the Palestinians both, and that this thing just turn out good.
Steve, how was the Bush administration perceived in the Gaza Strip?
The Bush administration?
Yes.
Obviously, it's seen as, it's seen as a puppet of the Israeli government. You know, there's this a very strong conspiracy theory. Most of the people here believe that September 11th was caused not caused by Osama bin Laden, but more likely by the Jews. You know.
How is that? How do you blame the Jews for 9/11?
Well, there's a lot of people who say that. I'm not saying I believe that, but I'm saying that's just to show you how conspiracy theories are so rampant here. And because of that, there's real belief that the Bush administration is really just controlled by the Israeli government, and by Sharon. Bush is a puppet on Sharon's lap, and yet on the other hand, whenever I talk to them, I remind them. I say, George Bush was the first one who ever spoke, who said the words a Palestinian state. He's the first American president that ever said that. And so, just to try to balance it out a little bit, and then the fact that Condoleezza Rice has come here, everybody here knows Condoleezza Rice, and they know the little kids, 4 years old on the street, they know Condoleezza Rice, and that she came here, and it means so much when she comes here and she goes to Ramallah to meet, with the government, the Palestinian government, and so they're not 100% with them, they really they despise what's happening in Iraq, they really are against what's happening in Iraq. And yet, on the other hand, they realize they need the Americans, and every little thing that America does, that is, in their favor, they really do appreciate it. And I see that Abu Mazen has been really, I don't know if you watched Abu Mazen, he hasn't been this firebrand, they expected him to be a lot more pro-Israeli and pro-Western.
And you're referring to Mahmoud Abbas, right?
That's his Abbas, the president.
Right.
And he hasn't been. And he said some very fiery things, about Israel and about America. And you have to realize, what he has to do to not lose the support of his people.
Steve, unfortunately, we're out of time. But I thank you so much for doing this, and I hope to talk to you in the very near future. And stay safe, my friend.
All right, man.
Okay.
God bless you, Steve.
We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers right after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers.
Okay, thanks. Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. Today's pundit panel, we have Jason Geddes, former Assemblyman, who did a great job in 03. We have Brandon Trainor, the chair of the Nevada Libertarian Party, and Bob Crowell of the Crowell Group of of Carson City and also a member of the Carson City School Board.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. First off, on this morning's news in Crawford, Texas, we had a neighbor of President Bush, Larry Matledge, who shot his gun off on his property, not against the law in Texas, as a protest. He's tired of all these people around this Cindy Sheehan protest. As you know, she is there protesting the death of her son in Iraq and the war in Iraq. And Jason, is enough enough?
It could be enough is enough, but you live next door to the president. You got to expect the protests. You got to expect the people to come out. I don't think he should be firing his gun to try and scare reporters. I mean, it's within his rights, but it does frighten a lot of people, and people aren't expecting it. I probably would have done something a little less attention-getting.
Okay. Well, sure, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, you got to look at what his point was and what it did, because you know, if you're trying to downplay the effect of someone who's trying to put a face, like Cindy Sheehan has put a face on the anti-war movement, you know, all that person did by shooting a gun over there is escalate the issue and give it more prominence. So he just highlighted, you know, made the other side's day.
Well, Mr. Trainor, how do the Libertarians feel about Cindy Sheehan's protest?
Well, we believe that people do have the right to protest, and I think the gentleman here was trying to say that there's unintended consequences to our protests, but there's a lot of unintended consequences to the war in Iraq as well. So I definitely support Cindy Sheehan and hope that the president would, in fact, just graciously at least talk to her. I was talking to Jason outside a few minutes ago, and you know, in England, the Prime Minister has to get up in front of Parliament and talk to people every week. But in America, the president is much more isolated, and he doesn't have to do that. But I think it would at least be a gesture on his part to meet with her.
I think I'm not sure he can do it at this point, though. I mean, I think the president goes out and he does talk to people all the time, and he does talk to the common man all the time. But she has escalated this issue so high, I don't see how he could ever get in a room and sit down with her without it being so charged and such media coverage. It would just be so difficult. Anything he would say would become a huge issue.
Well, yeah,
I'm not sure he can do it at this point.
I agree with Jason. I don't think you can do it now, and I think that, you know, probably the smarter political play would have been to meet right at the beginning of this and put an end to it. Now it's too late to do that.
Well, Cindy Sheehan has invited the president to a Friday night prayer vigil, and people are saying if he goes to this vigil, that's the end of the protest. People are going to, they've said their piece, they're going to pack up and leave. Do you think that's a smart political move?
Well, I think that may well work. I haven't heard that yet, but you know, anyway, one, I don't think that the anti-war protest. I think that Cindy Sheehan is now the face of the anti-war movement and is going to be for a period of time to come. And I don't think whatever the president does is going to diffuse that. And I think you're seeing that's what's happening in the polls as well. But I do think that from the short term, that going to a prayer vigil like that would probably help matters. Okay. Would probably help the president.
Well, sure. I mean, the president makes an awful lot of political hay over the fact that he is, the Republican Party has got a large base among the religious people in this country. And so I think it was an excellent political move by Cindy to invite him to the prayer meeting. But as far as the president getting out and talking to the people, I kind of take a cynical view on that. Even here in Reno, there were people that were not allowed when he came in to come to his event because they had something, a T-shirt or a button that said something that was opposed to his point of view. And he's been notorious for that. These so-called town hall meetings are basically stacked with people that agree with him right down the line.
Okay. Jason, you agree with that?
Well, I don't agree. I mean, they are restricted events, or highly controlled events, not restricted events. But I mean, the people that I saw coming out, I walked through the protest when he was speaking around San Rafael Park, and it wasn't a little button or a T-shirt. The people were there to make a political message against the president, and that was their intent in going in there. I mean, there were plenty of people in the audience who agreed with him and disagreed with him,
okay,
but wanted to hear him speak.
Mr. Trainor, let me ask you this. At the beginning of the Iraqi war, when it looked like we might be bogged down there for a bit, there were some references made, parallels to Vietnam. A lot of staunch Republicans says there are no parallels, or very few parallels to Vietnam. As we drag this out, as we see an anti-war protest have a face on it now, do we have a parallel to Vietnam?
Well, I've seen statistical parsing where the death rate not the actual death numbers, but the death rate among our servicemen in Iraq is higher than it was in Vietnam. Per person, per capita, we are actually losing more people over there to all the different things such as disease as well as combat injuries and deaths than we did in Vietnam. So I would say, yes, there is a definite parallel. And there's a parallel because of the fact you don't know who your enemy is. Vietnam was a military pundit that I like, William Lynn, said, it's a fourth-generation war. George Washington was actually one of the starters at the beginning of the fourth-generation war, where the American War of Independence was really a guerrilla war in a lot of respects. And a lot of them study this, but Vietnam and Iraq were both now guerrilla wars. They're both fourth-generation wars. They're not really run by state against state, but they're run by insurgents or rebels or underground guerrillas. And so for our soldiers over there, it's almost impossible to know who your friends and enemies are.
Okay, Bob, real quickly, to Jason.
Yeah, you know, I think there is somewhat of a parallel, even though it's not vogue to say so, and that is you know, in Vietnam it was the issue of creating democracy and stopping the spread of communism or stopping insurgents in South Vietnam. You kind of see the same thing in Iraq, and I think that that's probably part of the problem because it's a mission that's too far removed from everyday American life to create the necessary heat in this country to sustain a war.
Okay, real quickly, Jason.
It does make it difficult, but, you know, we are the democracy of the world, we are the superpower of the world, and we need to help democracy wherever we can.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up right there. We'll be right back after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
Coming up tomorrow on Nevada Newsmakers, we have Chris Ritchie and other museum experts talking about the new Discovery Museum in downtown Reno. Thanks for watching today.